Being cheated on, worst relationship I've ever had. Just to give some context, I'm not a very social person. I just tend to keep a tight circle and hang out every once in a while. Also, I was never the one to mess the hoes. Just tried to keep my relationship tightly knit, so it was never no fuck shit. Anyways, me and the homie were gonna go this party. We decided earlier in the day that we were going to the party, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We all went home to get ready for the party, which was started at 9 p.m. and last till 12 p.m. to 1 a.m. if it was popping. It hits around 7 p.m. I hop in the whip to go pick everybody up and pregame a little bit, drive about 20 minutes to town, hit the liquor store, pick up some Rellos and Crown. I go to the plug and pick up an Oz, then I head to my partner's house and he takes a couple shots. I go pick up the other two brothers and finally head to pick up my last homie. We call him and snap him a couple times. He didn't answer, so we just pull and knock on the door. It was all four of us at the door and his cousin answers and is like, "What's up?" I ask, "Is blank here?" His cousin says, "Yeah, he's sleeping." I respond, "Can you wake him up? We're supposed to go to a party." He says, "Yeah, I'll be right back." He shuts the door and comes back after 2 minutes. He opened the door and said, "Come in." So me and my buddies walk in and go to his room. I get around the corner and I see my buddy on the bed. I take a couple steps forward. He hears me and looked towards me, jumped up all at the same time. So I knew some time was up, and I stood there. My buddy behind me said that he's got a gun. I was just absolute dumbfounded for 10-15 seconds. I didn't say a word. I turned around and hopped back in the car. After a little while, I learned that he didn't want to go to the party, but he didn't have the balls to say it, acted like a complete asshole. So I was shocked. I knew I had to get turned at the party. We all were pissed off on the ride over, but quickly disappear once we pulled up at around 9:07 p.m. At this time there was a decent amount of peoples. I started rolling and pouring shots. The brothers all start talking to shorties and spitting game. Anyways, I'm just chill talking. It's been about an hour. The bro take the girls to cars and doing they thing, so I decide it's my turn. I see some shorty that is so fine. Just nice overall, so I just go up next to her and introduce myself, ask if I can sit down, and she was nervous but seemed to like my presence, asked to sit down next to her, and she said yes. I just asked her stuff about herself, and let me tell ya, most women love to talk about themselves, so she was interested, did a couple more shots, and chilled before I had to dry. About 30 minutes later, the party was shut down. I can't exactly remember why, but we all had to leave. All the homies was packing in the Jeep. I was grabbing my weed and heading to the car. When she approached me and asked for contact info, I couldn't say no. She just glowed and talked with a confidence that lured me in, and she felt a little more comfortable with me. That led to constant text over a couple-week period. Then we went to hang out for the first time. We had to walk on a trail to really talk some more and get to know each other. Got to really know the surface level stuff and really how to talk her. On the way back, close to the parking lot, we ran into my bro that was with me at the party. He was taking picture with his family. He saw me and started gassing me up. He asked what we was doing. I told him I just hanging with my girl. At this point, we just had flirted, didn't make any bold claim yet, so she blushed and was all shy. We ended up hanging out all day, and I went to drop her off. Before she went inside, we sat on the steps and she opened up about her life and how she went through a lot of trauma. I related with her and just listened and tried to comfort her. She really liked that I was patient with her and heard out. At the end of talking, she was teary-eyed and emotional, but she went in for a kiss. Eventually, we kept hanging out and getting closer. We talked all day, all night, hung out every day we could until we tied the knot. A couple weeks after that, we claimed we loved each other. We related through trauma, games we were at in life, and among other things, we'd often think about the party and how we really thought about not going, and we would have never met. I'm not going to lie, the first part was the honeymoon phase and it seemed great, but all came to a crushing reality. After a couple months of hanging out with just each other, she wanted to have a friend group and just expand our social circle. I was always content with just us. But she insisted that we should, and she wasn't wrong. Anyway, we start hanging with my cousin and his girl a whole bunch, went on double dates and everything. Until my cousin started doing flirting with my girl, and I told them they need to stop. They just played it off like it was playful. Anyways, I just sat back and watched. Eventually, a couple months later, I found out that they are texting. The way I found out was we went to visit my cousin friend. I was texting her and she was taking forever to respond. I look over and I see that she was texting my cousin. I was mad. I let her know again. That was not accepted. Had her block him on everything, constantly check it, and pull it up randomly. She just beat around the bush again. Anyway, it all came down to FaceTime and my GF doing sexual things on the phone with him. I cut him off and had my girlfriend block him. That was just the start. She all had some weird dudes on her Snap either deleting messages or sending them. One time I was sitting next to her and she gets a dick pic from some random dude. At this point, we are arguing a whole bunch, and she just sits there and denied doing anything. It was the hardest thing I had to deal with. I loved her, so it was hard to let go and think rational. It's crazy though the amount of acting or believing your own lies and while bawling your eyes out yelling that you didn't do anything. I would be on the phone for hours, telling her it's over and her just begging and lying through her teeth just to have the comfort of someone you can trust. She gaslight me so much too, saying that she would hurt herself or so on. Anything to corner me into staying. It is just so frightening. It seems like it has no end. They could murder someone and lie straight to your face about it. It also sucked. I helped her with so much of her stuff. I took her everywhere, worked, shopping, out to eat, anything, anywhere. I did her online school work. I basically got her high school diploma for her, but I asked her for help and she couldn't even help with one piece of work. Also, I forget to add that during all the texting, she was also texting her exes as well. She invited me to the high school graduation. I went to support her only to be treated like I was an outsider to her dad and sister. Because she didn't want to tell them that we were dating, halfway through she ran over to her exes to hug and congratulate them. At this point, I felt like I was in the wrong place, so I left just to get a text like, "Why did you leave? I wanted you here." This whole relationship was me being played. Towards the end, she was too busy to hang out. She was working all week. She couldn't drive to the new place I was at, cause it was too far, but I would drive for over 1.5 hours. Before this, taking her wherever. Now that I was the one that needed help, she couldn't show up at all. Nothing from her or any support. I was fed up. I broke with her. She wanted to keep contact, text, and Snapchat. I indulged it for a while, but soon realized I was one of her exes now. She wanted to keep me on the hook in case she needs something, a ride or money. It didn't matter how you felt or if you knew, it only mattered if you were going to do it for her. The moment you are on use, they ditch and leave you with a hole in your heart and pain you can never shake. I'm grateful that I learned from this situation. I know what to look out for and what not to ignore. Remember, never think you are safe. Always stay on alert. Never be on the back foot or caught without the pants. This women nowadays will eat you alive. Trust your gut and instincts. They never fail you unless you ignore them. Believe me, I learned it the hard way.